Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 o'clock. Today is October 25th, 2021. I want to welcome you to the Clayton County Board of Education work session. At this time, I am going to call the meeting to order by calling the roll, and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm starting with District 1, Ms. Jasmine Bowles. Present. District 2, Mark Christmas. District 3, Jesse Goree, that would be me. District 4, Ms. Victoria Williams. Here. District 5, Dr. D. Haney. Present. District 6, Ms. Mary Baker. Present. District 7, Ms. Sabrina Hill. Present. District 8, Ms. Joy Taylor. Present. And District 9, Mr. Benjamin Straker. Present. Superintendent, Dr. Maurice Beasley.
Present.
Attorney, Mr. Clem Doyle.
Present.
Board Coordinator, Ms. Shantara Rump Carter. Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent and Board, Ms. Don Blau. And Clayton County Public School staff. Thank you all for joining us this evening. At this time, let's stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I will read the ethics statement. In accordance with Board Policy BH, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of such conflicts. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of such conflict with respect to any matter scheduled to come before the board at this meeting or appearing on our proposed agenda? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from participation in the matter involved. At this time, we need to adopt the agenda. I need a motion. Mr. Christmas.
So moved, Madam Chair.
It's been moved by Mr. Christmas. I need a second. Ms. Hill.
I second.
It's been moved and properly second by Mr. Christmas and Ms. Hill. Please vote for the adoption of the agenda. All right, it's unanimous. At this time, before we go into executive session, I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege. I've given my board members an assignment. As you know, it is October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as you can see, I'm in my attire. I have on my tutu, I have on my mask, and I have my bell to fight for cancer. And I'm going to ring it for the survivors. I've asked each of my board members to call out the name of survivors. And I'm going to start down there with you, Ms. Bowles.
I'm thinking of Irma Martinez, my great-grandmother.
We're going down in order.
Elfrida Richards, my aunt.
Jesse Goree, my board chair. Thank you.
Same, Jessie Bowie.
We're going to go down next. I'll go with Ms. Baker.
I'm going to say my mother-in-law, Lee Baker, and I haven't publicly ever said this, some of you know, but I'm a 6-year survivor.
What I thought. Ms. Hill.
I'm going to say I have a colleague, Gail Murray, and April Burgess, and Principal Brenda Ross Wilson.
Ms. Cooper.
Anne Marie Hammonds, Tracy Cutler, and Tracy Martino.
Mr. Straker.
A colleague, Tracy Kenyatta, client, Mary Durman, and of course, the board chair, Jesse Goree. And now that I know, Miss Mary Baker.
I have a picture of a very special person that's showing. That is my line sister. Her name is Adrienne Granger Smith. She is the principal at Hamilton E. Holmes Elementary School in Fulton County. And on Saturday, we walked. They had something called the Pink Warrior Walk. And so all of us that have on the red, that's me, that's Adrienne, that's Leanne Kepler, that is also Janita Green. We are the survivors on our line. This is Adrienne's second bout with breast cancer. She's stage 4. But I just want everybody that's looking to know that as the principal of that elementary school, she has never missed a beat. She goes out each and every day, goes to work after she's had her chemo. And Tri-Cities High School honored her, the Alumni Association, along with the cheerleaders and everything on Saturday. That is, I need to mention 2 other of my line sisters, Stacy Utsey and also Dorothy Arnold. That's my line that's behind us. There were 137 of us on our line. And so they supported us on Saturday as we supported her. Before I ran for the Board of Education, I participated in the breast cancer walk, not knowing that I would end up being a member of the sisterhood, and that's not a sisterhood that I necessarily want to join. But after walking 60 miles, I knew that I could do anything. I even, probably on the first day, I wanted to quit, but I had women that walked past me with chemo, and I said, I'm not gonna let them outdo me, and that made me stay. One of the goals that I set for myself this year, I haven't accomplished. I have one of my first students, Sanji Strozier, is a survivor. My goal this year was to do the 3-day breast cancer walk again with her in San Diego. I didn't accomplish that goal, but I do plan to do it next year. But I wanted to shout out those names. And this last picture that I have is Miss Sharita Jordan. She is a teacher at Riverdale High School. And as you can see on the picture, she brought out her whole family on Sunday. I went and did another breast cancer walk yesterday, and I was so proud of her. She told me she was going to reach out. She wanted to reach out to me. So I'm just proud. I had to salute one of our teachers. She's a DES teacher at Riverdale High School. And so I want to, another thing I want to show off, y'all see I got some hair. And, last year at this time I was wearing my little turban, my little Nick Cannon look. I just never did put any bling bling on the front of it. But the other day I went to the hairdresser and I didn't even know I had this much hair. So I have some hair. And so I want to thank a couple of other people and then we'll get this meeting started. I want to thank Miss Rice for my bell because everybody knows I go to the football games and I ring my bell, so she made this for me. And I want to thank Pat Wilson, who's also one of our retirees. She gave me a survivor's bracelet on Sunday. And I want to thank Miss Jean Funny, who just brought me this as we started the meeting. And again, I want to thank Miss Killian, who also she made my mask for me that I had at the beginning. And I'm just going to do one more thing. Stand up, and I'm going to ring the bell again for the survivors. So this is for all the survivors. Fight for the cure. All right. Thank you all so much. At this time, we do need to go into executive session. We need to discuss personnel matters and land acquisition, property. I have a motion from Mr. Christmas. And I need.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have a Ms. Baker. Second. All right. Ms. Bowles, do you have a question or?
No, that was the second.
Okay, second, okay, I'm sorry. All right, so let's vote, please. All right, it is unanimous, and we will go into executive session and come out as soon as possible. Thank you all so much. From an executive session where we discuss personnel matters and land. And at this time, I'm going to move that we approve the superintendent's recommendation of the donation of the Lee Street property as discussed in executive session. Do I have a second? Mr. Christmas?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we approve the superintendent's recommendation. Please vote. Ms. Williams, are you voting? Oh, she's not back. Okay. The vote is 8 in favor. Ms. Williams hasn't returned yet. I'm sorry. Before we move on with our meeting, I actually got a little emotional into that breast cancer awareness, and I forgot to acknowledge some people. I would like for us to please take a moment of silence. We lost some members of our staff last week. I want us to take a moment of silence for Miss Regina Childs, who was a healthcare technician in Clayton County Public Schools. We also lost 2 students, Fierce Shitty and Logan Wade. And we also lost 2 former students, Tyline Green and Imonte Gunn. Let's take a moment to acknowledge them, to pray for their family. Thank you. And I would also like to conclude by saying that, I'm sorry, we have one other. We lost another teacher at Kilpatrick Elementary School, Mrs. Castillo, a 3rd grade teacher at Kilpatrick. I'm sorry, she passed away. So let's give her a moment of silence too. Thank you all so much. I do want to say to our parents that our students to please talk to your children, to please know that we do have crisis teams, we do have counseling and all those types of things here. And I would ask that parents please look in your household. If you have weapons, please make sure that your weapons are secure, and let us not have our children be involved with them. Thank you so much. All right. Ms. Haney, Dr. Haney.
Madam Chair and Superintendent Bexley, the Chitty family just wanted to acknowledge and tell you all thank you for supporting them during their loss of Choo Choo, known at Jonesboro High School, was Fierce Chitty, and she was just really, and Dad, along with the mom.
Dr. Haney.
Oh, okay. It's very just appreciative of the district coming through to support them in their loss of Choo Choo, as they called him, as well as MD Roberts students came out to the funeral as well as some of the Jonesboro High School student family, along with Miss Felicia Brown and some of her staff. So on behalf of the board, I went as well as for District 5. So they just wanted to come in and give you all your proper due and saying thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haney. All right, at this time, we will have updates to the board. I'll turn it over to Dr. Beasley.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. We have a few updates tonight. We'll start with school leadership and improvement. Dr. Simpson And of course, he'll call upon various members as you saw in the presentation that was shared. And after that, we'll immediately go to safety and security with Chief Clayton.
Testing, testing. We're going to be innovative in the meantime. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Beasley, Madam Board Chair, Mr. Vice Chair Straker, other members of the board, community at large. We have a few updates, and the individual standing behind me, I want to introduce them by name, that they'll come as they are standing. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Lee. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Simpson. Good evening, everyone. So we have a few updates. I'm going to start by reviewing briefly the academic plan that you all received prior to the board meeting. It was the 8-page document that included our focus areas. Following me, Jackie Johnson will share our beginning of the year assessment data very briefly, and then we'll have an update from Dr. Karen Turner and Dr. Colbert with virtual learning, and Dr. Collier will conclude with the vaccination update. So I just wanted to point out some of the key features of the academic plan. We pulled out the focus areas from our strategic improvement plan so that board members, you can just see at a glance the areas in which we are targeting in order to improve student outcomes. So you see on this slide that we have 4 focus areas: advancing learning for all and ensuring that our students have an academically challenging curriculum. We know that in order for, so the first focus area, just to repeat, is advancing learning for all and ensuring an academically challenging curriculum. As you all know, in order for our students to perform proficiently, whether it's SATs, ACTs, Georgia milestones, advanced placement, the curriculum has to reflect the standards. And so that's a focus. Focus 2 is expanding early learning so that our students are ready for grade 3. Our effort is to have as many of our students in quality early learning as possible, and have our parents aware of those practices that help to increase students' readiness for school. And focus 3, implementing evidence-based practices across the curriculum. So that's ensuring that all students are engaged in purposeful reading, writing, and speaking, and in all of the subject areas. And then finally, critically, engaging multiple stakeholders, because we all know we can't do this work alone, and our parents, our caregivers, our community-based partnerships are instrumental to the work that we do each day. Below that, you see our SMART goals. These are SMART goals that we feel are feasible. The first one is aiming for at least 3 percentage point growth each year. And then for our K2 students, because again, that's the foundation, we really want an accelerated goal of at least 10 percentage points. So throughout the school year, you'll receive data. Let's go to the next slide. Ron Carter, okay. On this, and also in the academic plan, we wanted to highlight the data that you're going to receive throughout the school year, at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and toward the end of the year, so that you can stay abreast of how well our students are performing. And as you work with your constituents, you can keep them informed of how our students are doing, but also how they can engage with us. So a part of the data tonight, as I mentioned, will be iReady and MAP, and then following, at a later time, you'll receive the L4GA data from our schools, as well as the DIBELS data. And you've already received the advanced placement data at a prior meeting. Additionally, I just wanted to note that we provided a document called Supporting Literacy at Home. That's a document that outlines the practical ways that our parents and caregivers can ensure that our students are practicing their literacy regularly, because we know a reading community contributes to students who are reading on or above grade level. So just please assist us with sharing that document widely. We've already shared it with our schools to push out to our parents. And Title I, they're doing a series of parent academies where we'll also be able to share and engage our parents. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie, and Jackie Johnson, she will go over our beginning of the year baseline data for my students. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. Beasley. Our iReady fall assessment data will be shown in ways that look like percentage of students who are at performance categories. The math data will also be shared by the percentage of students in performing categories. And then we will take a look at some additional data from math that is a little different, which I'll explain when we get to those. Overall, our math and reading data for kindergarten and first grade shows that math is our students combined together, kindergarten and first grade. That is the students who are combined in the dark green and lighter green categories of at the mid and above grade level performance. 8.9% of students in math are performing at those levels, and in reading, 16.1% are performing at those levels. The projected performance on the MAP assessment, students in grades 2 through 11 currently are taking the MAP assessment. However, this slide is showing the students projected to, how they're projected to perform on the MAP assessment. What happened? Okay, sorry about that. Students who are projected to perform on the GMAS, Georgia Milestones in reading as projected by the MAP assessment. And you'll see that 21.7% of all students are projected to perform proficient and distinguished on GMAS. On this slide, those numbers, I'm sorry, let me go back. The bottom blue slot, the bottom blue line shows the percent of students who are projected to be proficient. And the slide on the graph on the right shows the breakdown of each of those performance categories. This next slide shows the percent of students who are projected to perform proficient and distinguished on math. You'll see again in blue, 14.4% of the students combined together are projected to perform proficient and distinguished on math. And again, you see the graph, the pie graph showing all the performance categories. This next slide shows the projected performance of students on GMAS for the high school end of course Algebra 1 exam. And though all the students are shown on this slide, all of our students do not take the end of course exam. However, we are watching the progress of all of our students as they're projected to perform. Algebra is one of those gatekeeper kind of courses that we're looking at, because Algebra 1 tells us how likely our students are to perform at higher level advanced coursework and also in advanced math. So the line in blue shows 11.1% of our students who tested are projected to perform proficient and distinguished. It is important to note that on slide 9 and grades 9 and 10 are the grade levels where most of our students are currently enrolled in Algebra 1 courses. This slide shows the percentage of students who are projected to perform on the category of untrack for the SAT. The SAT is a test that our students take when they are later in their career in school, in high school. However, we are taking a look to see how our students are likely to perform right now so that we can impact their results down the road. So 35.8% of the students are projected to be on target in reading, and 8.6% of our students are projected to be on track in mathematics. This next slide shows similar data. We project our students in their proficiency on ACT. If you take a look at this slide, you'll see that 20.9% of our students are projected to be on track with a score of a 22 and a 24 combined together in reading. That's 20.9% of our students are projected to be on track for the ACT in reading. And this next slide shows 7.4% of our students are projected to be college and career ready in mathematics. The math assessments not only project performance and the percentage of students proficient, distinguished, developing, and beginning, we also get average RIT scores for all of our students. And those RIT scores, we're able to monitor student progress within the school year. And from one term that they're tested to the next, we're able to see if students are growing in their scores. Average scores from fall, winter, and spring allow us to compare the averages of all students in a grade level compared to the national norm average, and also in some subjects like reading and math, we're able to project their performance and monitor how far away they are from their spring end of the year proficiency score. So that's what these next set of data are showing us. This first slide shows our spring. So let me explain what this slide is showing. The bottom line is showing our average scores by each grade level. On the bottom, you'll see the grades. That bottom line shows what our average scores are by grade level. That middle grayish line is showing the national norm, so how far we are away from the national norm. And then that top row shows our end of the year spring projected performance. Throughout the course of this year, as Dr. Lee explained, you'll receive data from us. We'll be able to see how our scores are changing from average for each grade level as we're working towards getting our students proficient by the end of the year. These data are the reading data that you're looking at right now. This next slide are similar data, but this is in math. All grades, again, the bottom line shows our students' average scores for mathematics by grade level. The middle line, shows our average scores for the nation and how far we are away from the nation. And the top line shows how far CCPS is away from the spring projected scores in mathematics. The next set of data, there are not end of the year spring projected performance scores. So these language use data and the next slide, the science data, only show where we are in comparison to the national average. So this bottom row shows where CCPS is performing against the national norm average score. And these are the language use data. The next data slide are showing the science score. So this is where our students are performing in comparison to the national norm. You'll notice that in science, only grades 3 through 9 are showing because those are the only grade levels that take the science assessment. Whereas some of our other data, we have students in grades 2 through 11 taking the math and the reading. The next couple slides tell you what we are doing in our efforts to continuously improve student outcomes. And we won't read those slides, you all received it, so I'll pause and see if there are any questions.
Ms. Baker.
I think we were all pretty sure that test scores wouldn't be where we wanted after a year of COVID, a year plus of COVID. I'm just curious if we have any data that compares us to other schools that were in school more than we were, because I mean, we were out for over a year, other schools went back, and I'm just wondering if we have any data that shows if that made a difference, or is this across the board for the state that all of the scores are low?
Right now, that's a great question. The only data that we would have that would compare us to another school district would be the GMAS data, because we don't have access to other districts' data. So you received that over the summer, which showed where we were currently at. But again, most districts had very low very low participation in the spring assessment because of COVID.
I would like to make a suggestion in wording this, in that I would like for the public, I'm just going to make a statement to let the public know that as a retired teacher, I would say this is a pre-test And that's how it looks now. And I would not want to put the word projected in there because sometimes when you project, you're speaking something. So we're not going to speak that that's how it looks. You're really just telling us you've done a beginning of the year assessment, and that's just how the scores look now.
Yes,
But we're going to speak that when the end of the year comes, that the scores are going to be equivalent to what we see at the top.
thank
And-
you. I can clarify that these are our baseline data, as Dr. Lee said, and we are using the data right now to help us move the needle.
Right,
These scores show where they would be at if they were to take the test right now.
exactly,
But we have an entire year to continue
Right.
teaching and learning.
right.
Thank you for that.
Exactly. And I had asked a question today regarding how many students that we have in the gifted program, because when I was looking at the scores, some of the areas look very, like very minute as far as proficient. And I know, and so I was hoping that if we looked at the percentage of gifted students, that the numbers would be higher. But I'm sure that they're going to be better than this. And I do concur with Ms. Baker that I think even when I was looking at graduation rates, that some of our, because we've been out since March 13th of 2020. I do think that it helped other districts that they were in the building and that we were still out. So I think that definitely we will bounce back. So thank you. Do we have any other questions?
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
I just realized something else that I didn't do this evening. I'm just looking right in the face of Councilman Kenny Ruffin from the city of Riverdale. We used to have a sign-in sheet. Since we've been shut down, we don't have it anymore. So I would like for you all to recognize our city council person from the city of Riverdale, Mr. Ruffin. Forgive me, Mr. Ruffin. Go ahead, Ms. Patterson.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, board members, and Dr. Beasley. Last time we met, we discussed and presented the K through 2 data. So today I'm providing data for 3 through 5 grade band. We have information about enrollment, and as of today, we have 8,447 scholars enrolled in our virtual learning program throughout Clayton County. The data we have deals with enrollment right here. As you can see, all students, EL, and students involved in special ed services. We also have the virtual learning student performance for the math data for fall. You can see how our students did by the different subject levels. And these are students that are at or above proficiency. This is 4th grade. And 5th grade. We then broke it down for students who are English learners. As well as students' performance in DES. And I'll just pause here to see if there's any questions about the data.
Are there any questions regarding the data? I don't see any questions regarding data.
Okay. I just wanted to add that we do have a timeline where we're moving forward with the virtual learning program. We'll start with our first group of virtual students. I've been meeting with principals just to assess the virtual learning needs that go from school to school and really look at the models that they're using in order to reduce simultaneous. We have a plan to launch for November 1st for our first group. We are actively working to recruit teachers, faculty, and staff as well. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. So I want to repeat. Okay, I see Ms. Bowles is like, because I want to know specifically, you all are saying November the 1st is a date that you're looking at?
Yes, ma'am.
So does that mean that we won't have any, after November 1st, we're going to have people that are teaching only
Yes, ma'am.
in the classroom, not doing both?
Correct. They will be concentrated on virtual learning.
Because I've been getting a lot of phone calls and I'm tired of answering those.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Bowles.
Thank you. I actually just wanted to give y'all a shout out and kudos because this has been really important to all of us. I know you included, but there has been some evolution of this concept over the past few months. And I think y'all told us it couldn't be done this year, and here we are figuring it out. And so I just want to say thank you for not only figuring it out, but giving us an update tonight.
I appreciate
So
that.
that's really exciting. Next month is kind of incredible. So nice work.
And just to clarify, for the November 1st, it is a group, as I said, and it's a phase. And so we're going to just continue working throughout the year to increase that group and to increase reducing simultaneous throughout the district, especially concentrating on K through 8.
Ms. Williams.
What do you mean it's a group? Like a group of teachers that's moving to virtual only, or a group of
Students as well, and as well as teachers. It's not going to be where I can do the entire district, so we're working in small bits as we progress so that we know exactly how to address all the virtual learners. So it's bit by bit as we're putting it all together.
So November 1st, everybody's not going to just be...
Correct. It's going to be a phase. And I'll pick up as fast as I can with the support I get and the resources.
I'm confused on how that's working. Like, like one or two schools at a time, something like that?
Correct, and then continue to add, and then wherever I can come in on different schools as I meet with them, how their models is, because some schools, they're just fine where they don't have the simultaneous. So as I can increase and go to school by school and take away that simultaneous, as we combine resources, that's the way we're doing it.
Dr. Turner, in dealing with the group that you're talking about, are you, I know you're talking about different schools, but are you considering one particular level at a time? Because I know with elementary parents,
yes, ma'am.
So are you doing it that way, or?
Yes, so right now we're working with the band of 3 through 5. As we looked at elementary, they had the most numbers, and we were looking at their performance as well. And so with the virtual learning program, we are starting with the 3 through 5.
Right, and I'm glad that you're doing that because I've been getting a lot of calls from especially parents that have students that are like 5th graders and they're about to go to middle school.
Correct.
They have a very, a concern about going to middle school. But Dr. Turner, why don't you also share the fact that before you became the administrator for this program, what you were already doing as far as?
I was principal of Rexmill Middle STEM School. And in that area, we had virtual learning, but I also took on the special ed program for middle school. So I had several students from around Clayton County going there for special ed services, all serviced through Rexmill instructors. Now, it was with the support, of course, of the central office, the director, Trina Smith, and getting me resources and more faculty to address the needs of the special ed students that we took on, in addition to our own.
Thank you very much. And I want to reiterate what Ms. Bowles said, because as she said, before you all said this couldn't be done, but we knew that it could be. I guess we just had to put a little pressure from the pitcher's mound, Dr. Colbert.
That's right.
Yeah, right. All right. Do we have any other questions or comments? Do you have some comments, Dr. Colbert?
No, ma'am, I just want to thank the board for working with us and being patient with us as we, virtual learning is new. It's a new concept, not only in Clayton County, but across the nation. This is new. While it's new, it's also an opportunity for us to expand and look at how do you do business differently. I mean, it's an opportunity. We look forward. We know that our number one challenge or barrier right now is staff. I mean, as you know, APS, everyone is looking for virtual educators, so it's competitive. Speaking with Dr. Wilson and sharing out my concern about the challenges and just getting staff on board. So, but we are continuing to work. Appreciate your vote of confidence as we continue to figure this out, and we will get better.
All right, I want to ask one last question. This would be to probably Dr. Beasley as well, because these numbers keep fluctuating between these virtual learners. Do we have a point now where we need to tell parents that we're cutting off enrollment in the virtual academy? Because if we continue, we were doing so at first because our numbers were up, and I don't know Dr. Collier's coming up next, but are we at a point now where we're going to say that we can't continue to just have people deciding, day by day that they're joining, that they're going to be virtual? Do we have a cutoff point at this point?
We've discussed a possibility of cutting the enrollment off. If I had one, I guess, wish, or I would like to see us being able to really shut the enrollment down, because it's like being in a school from 1 week to next week, your enrollment increases by 400 students. It's difficult to plan for such huge increases. I mean, I think that's been another barrier that got us to where we are now. Our enrollment continued to just go up after we closed down a school or something like that. The numbers continue to increase, and that's been a great challenge. The month of December is an important month for schools, as they will be advising those virtual learning students, meaning those students who have performed poorly will be recommended to return back to face-to-face learning in January. We also want to use that month for any new students who express interest in changing their modality of learning from face-to-face to virtual, give them that time during the month of December, and then after that, roll into January with the virtual learning enrollment shut down.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Dr. Beasley, members of the board, to the community at large. I'm going to share with you now updates and information as it relates to our COVID-19 data. If you reviewed the report prior to today's meeting, you would notice that there has been a significant downward trend across our state, the county, and even in our school system regarding our COVID-19 data. Our data within the school system for our students and our staff has also experienced that trend. This information is also available to our community on our COVID-19 dashboard, and we like to always direct our community to that dashboard to get up-to-date data weekly, but these are reflective of the information from the past month. We'd like to believe that this downward trend in our data is also correlated with the increase in our vaccine rate. In the state of Georgia, the vaccine rate is at 56% for one dose and 49% for fully vaccinated. In Clayton County, we have seen a significant jump, 47% for one dose and 41% for those that are fully vaccinated. We're also pleased to report that approximately 81% of our CCPS employees have received a vaccine based upon our preliminary vaccine incentive data. While we had 6,500 employees to submit for the incentive payout, we are still in the process, or business services is, in verifying the information. So we expect to see an increase in those individuals within our district, our employees that are vaccinated. This is just a reminder that the vaccine payouts occurred on Tuesday during the month of October. They will continue this week, and the information that I received from business services today is that there will be 2 payouts this week. So employees that did not receive their payment, there will be 2 payouts this week as our month is coming to an end. And also the current positivity rate in Clayton County has also trended down significantly to 7.1%. We are pleased to announce that we launched our booster shots for staff this past Friday, and we had a great turnout amongst our staff, and that here at the central office, and we will launch at our school sites beginning this Wednesday. Information has been shared by our communications department to all staff regarding the registration if they are interested in receiving a booster shot. We were notified today that for individuals who received the J&J COVID vaccine, that they must meet the following guidelines, and they can take the Pfizer second dose or the Pfizer booster shot if they are 18 years of age and they must have had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine within the past 2 months. So we will begin administering the Pfizer vaccine to those individuals that have the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The current recommendation includes also the Moderna as an additional vaccine booster, but Clayton County will only provide the Pfizer vaccine. Those individuals that are interested in getting the Moderna as a booster will have to receive it from another provider. But we will be happy to provide those individuals that receive the J&J with us, the Pfizer, beginning next week. You will have to register. We are working with our communications department to get that information out so that individuals that are interested in the booster can receive that booster. We are happy to announce, we want you to go ahead and mark your calendars, save the date, the Clayton Calling the Shots will hold a real talk town hall meeting on November the 10th at 6:00 p.m. virtually. Additional information will be going out from our communications department, but it will feature our superintendent, Dr. Beasley, our deputy superintendent, Dr. Sandra Nunez, Dr. Odawali, our district epidemiologist, and Dr. Reddy, the chief medical officer, along with myself. So we're asking that you save the date, and that information is forthcoming regarding that virtual town hall meeting for our stakeholders. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me at this time. Thank you.
I don't see any thank you, and I did get my booster shot on Friday. Oh, hold it, Ms. Bowles.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Collier.
Good evening.
Question about vaccine distribution for boosters and the mixing. It is FDA approved, it is CDC approved, but it was not Clayton approved last Friday. And I heard that may or may not be changing. Could you please clarify for us and any viewers who wonder the status of mixing since we started with the Johnson & Johnson here?
The information that I shared came from our chief medical officer today, that the mixing and matching is approved for Clayton, and that is why we will be administering the Pfizer for anyone that's interested that received the Johnson & Johnson. The mixing and matching has been approved by our Department of Public Health and by Clayton County.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, board members, Dr. Beasley, colleagues, and community at large. I've prepared the Safety and Security Executive Summary, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have regarding the report and the contents thereof.
Are there any questions, board members?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chief Traywick, don't sit down just yet.
Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question. It's actually not in your report, but I wanted to just put it out there. I've had some parents that have complained about speeding in our school zones. Remember, I believe, was it in 2019, we discussed those cameras?
Yes, ma'am.
And so are we thinking about looking at that, because it seems like in Forest Park, I see a camera somewhere near Huey Elementary School.
Yes, ma'am. They're throughout the county, as a matter of fact. We have them on 138 in a number of places. In Lake City, Forest Park, they're throughout the county now. And they're actually writing, the tickets are being sent out. So we should see a decrease. Again, it's relatively new because we just got back in September, but the permits were issued. The cameras have been installed and they're functioning.
Oh, well, I wish you all had told me that. I went past there today. I hope I don't get one in the mail. You all need to see us, you need to send us that information. So will we be getting any revenue?
No, ma'am, we will not. We had that conversation and things didn't work out the way that we anticipated. So as of right now, no, we will not receive any revenue.
Oh, okay. Ms. Williams.
You don't get any revenue for anybody?
We don't get any revenue from those cameras.
Oh, we need to take them down.
Okay.
I got a question about when we ordered the wands, that's the check for weapons.
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
we doing more weapon checks now? Does all this stuff happen? Like, are we doing everybody, or just only if we hear something, or what's the precaution we're doing?
No, the plan now is to work along with the school administration to use the wands. As a matter of fact, the money was transferred, the POs generated, so we should have those wands within either late this week or next week for distribution to the schools. But we're going to work with the administration on how they want to pursue that. The reason why we haven't done the safe school searches the way that we did the year before last is directly associated with COVID-19, and we would be in violation of the spacing, etc. So it would be more advantageous for us to use the wands so that we can still maintain the COVID protocols as well. And that should be, as soon as we get the wands and get them distributed, that should start.
Do you think it'd help if we went back to those clear backpacks?
Oh, absolutely. I really think, and a lot of districts are using mesh and clear book bags and backpacks. So I highly recommend that we consider that. But of course, that would be a decision that you all would make. But clear and mesh, you can visibly see, if you have a weapon. So it is my recommendation that we really consider clear and mesh book bags like a lot of other districts are using at this time.
Are you done, Ms. Williams? Ms. Bowles?
I wanted to echo Ms. Williams' surprise about learning we don't get shared revenue from the speed cameras. And I see your reaction. Do you have a thought?
Well, if you recall, some time ago, I brought that up and it became uncomfortable for me. So, I kind of left that alone because when we initially discussed, this was back on the very onset of us getting or establishing a relationship with the municipalities for those cameras, that we would attempt to receive revenue. But at some point in time, that dissolved, and so we're not receiving anything right now.
Yes. I'm unclear about what you mean about things getting uncomfortable. So I welcome that conversation another time or offline. And because we're not getting shared revenue, are these cameras temporary? I feel like they were time bound the first time. So are they permanent now?
They're permanent.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then we can continue whatever you're referring to about how we weren't able to advocate for that. I want us to always be able to advocate for anything like that in the future.
I think we probably still can.
Okay, it's critically important I'll speak for myself, but as fiscal stewards, it may or may not be welcome to my colleagues as well. Any opportunity for us to build those partnerships, it's cameras in our district, in our school zone that, I wonder what would be the contrary position on that. So yeah, if it's not too late, let's advocate for that.
Okay, we can do that. I'll work through Dr. Beasley and
Sure.
we would see what that looks like.
And it sounds like I've got a lot to learn, so I'm asking more questions than giving, a suggestion. I was curious about how we got there, so thank you.
I can respond to that, and then I'm Miss Dr. Haney, then Ms. Baker, then Mr. Christmas. The revenue issue is that the cities have control over the cameras. It doesn't have anything to do with the district. Regardless of whether they're in our school zones, they're still within the city. So the law says that the revenue goes to them, but they should have still had a conversation with us about being able to give us some revenue. So hopefully, as you said, we can revisit it. But as he's saying, they were uncomfortable because they didn't want to, they didn't want to.
But y'all,
They have kind of jurisdiction over the money.
yeah, you all are being very nice. They just they were not willing to share the revenue with us. But we knew we needed the cameras, so we moved forward.
Yes.
And we met with all of them. So
Yes, we did.
if we want to meet again, we can do that. But you all, more than likely, I don't think their position is going to change between now and then.
Yeah, they don't really
They
have
don't want to
to
share.
share, but we could make them feel a little guilty. Dr. Haney.
Thank you. Chief Clayton, all the cameras there in all the school zones?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I can provide a list of where they are.
Please do that.
And
please.
I can send that to Dr. Beasley, and because of course, the cameras cannot be installed unless the school district says you can do that, and that's by state law. So I can definitely give you the list, and
Can you share why a camera would not be in a particular zone, just for clarity? Like if they're not in a city, you have a school that is not in a city, and there's no camera. Why would it not have a camera versus another school that would have a camera?
It would be because in the unincorporated area, that would have to come through Clayton County.
Okay,
And Clayton County would have to put in the request, and then the request would come through us. Dr. Beasley signs off, and then at that point, the cameras are installed.
So it has to be initiated by the jurisdiction.
It has to be initiated by the jurisdiction and signed off by the school district.
And to be clear, I've signed off everyone that I've received. So
everyone.
Well, I want the list.
Yes, ma'am. It's not a problem. I'll make sure Dr. Beasley has it first thing in the morning.
Ms. Baker.
I'm just going to go back to your statement of clear and mesh backpacks.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that concept, but having a child who was part of this several years ago, one, they're hard to find. Two, they don't last. So we would need to look at how we get them for our students. And three, which is the part that upset me the most, is I buy the mesh and clear backpacks and I go to my children's school and they're carrying whatever they want. And when I ask the principals, they're like, well, we can't enforce that. So I won't support any rule that you're not willing to enforce completely 100%. Because when I walk in and I've paid out $50 for a backpack that's not going to last 3 months, and I walk in and they're carrying a Elmo backpack or a Barney backpack, which won't even hold their books, I've got a problem. So that's just something I'm not saying that it's wrong to want that. I'm just saying there's a lot of questions that need to be asked and figured out before we would make that demand.
I fully understand that, and I'm not here attempting to upset anyone. I'm just stating a fact that if you have clear and mesh book bags, it is easier to detect a weapon. I mean, that's just a fact. Another fact of the matter is that there are school districts that are accomplishing this. Now, what that looks like, we can research it, but I don't want to upset anybody. And the question was asked how I felt. And that is my opinion, that if we can see through the bag, we can detect a contraband of that type. So, but I understand where you're coming from, where as it relates to durability and as it relates to compliance, because it's not going to be effective if we don't have 100% compliance. And that's just the fact of the matter. So I wholeheartedly understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you. So if we're going to do it, let's do it in its totality, or don't do it at all. Yes.
Mr. Christmas.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure, if we had any cost to deal with those cameras, but did we help with any costs?
No, sir. The company itself provides all of the expenditures for the cameras because it's pretty profitable for the company.
Mm-hmm.
So the municipality doesn't incur a cost, nor do we. The challenge comes with getting the tickets out and reviewing the violations. And that's where a police officer has to sit down and review each one. So when a municipality decides that they really don't want to share funding, it's because of that. But contrary to that would be the cameras that we have on our school buses, where Chief Roberts, he worked with us and we do receive revenue for those. As a matter of fact, that's why we're able to do the background checks that Dr. Beasley approved for the district to pay for our volunteers. And that occurred, I think, Dr. Beasley, 2 or 3 years ago when that was authorized, so volunteers would not have to pay to assist us in the schools. And those background checks are funded through the school bus cameras, which is a very similar process.
Did we have a conversation, with the municipalities stating that we will use some of our officers to look at those cameras?
We had a conversation.
Wow, okay, all right, thanks.
Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, my question is to you. Did we, I know when my oldest son first came here, they had to use the backpack that was clear. Did y'all change the policy like after that, after the complaint or something?
Well, I think that we did, and I'm gonna say this as a teacher who worked in Clayton County Public Schools, and we had clear backpacks. I still had a student that came into my classroom with a gun. Because when the students figured out it wasn't in the backpack, they had, at that time, they had big oversized jackets. The gun was in his jacket. I think the wands are more effective because even I have a clear bag right here that I take to the Falcons game. And if I wrap something up and, I put some things in the, if you don't go all the way through it, you're not gonna see. You can wrap something around it. I think the wands are more effective, but if we wanted to go to the clear book bags, fine. But again, as you're saying, if it's not mandated that we have them, then it either way it goes. If some parents are gonna buy them, and then as Ms. Baker said, and then somebody else has another backpack, then it's just like trying to enforce the uniform. That's why we gave up on it in the high school. The uniform dress, I should say. But I've had students come in with a weapon with the clear bag. And when I go to the games, sometimes they'll say to me, "Well, you need to unwrap whatever," because I put like a scarf in mine. So if we're gonna mandate it, then that might work. But I still think the ones are more effective.
I was just trying to see if we had it in the policy, then we took it out. That's all I was asking.
I don't really know that it was necessarily a policy that was written, but I think that we pretty much had mandated it, and most kids were purchasing them. So that, Dr. Beasley, you speak.
Well, I was just going to say, for what it's worth, as a high school math teacher and assistant principal and principal, I've been in districts where we had that requirement. And to be very honest with you, we still dealt with weapons. And it became just another thing for administrators to do, but it didn't change the weapon scenario at all. And so, I mean, that's just my perspective, and that's the benefit of working in this K-12 in 3 different states who did 3 different districts with clear and mesh bags. And I wish I could say that we did not have a weapons issue. We still had them. So, for what it's worth.
I think we need to move on from this book bag conversation because we just gave out how many book bags that wasn't clear or matched?
All right, I think everybody's been around and round on this one. Just make sure we get those, where those cameras are, and since we do have a council member in here from the city of Riverdale, maybe we can, impress upon him to go back and see if we can't get some revenue, although I haven't seen any cameras in Riverdale yet. I hope they're not there, because I do have a little heavy foot every once
Over
in a
by
while.
Church Street.
Uh-oh, we do have them, Mr. Ruffin?
Mhm.
Oh, we have them on Church Street? Oh, my goodness, okay.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, we'll go ahead to the agenda. We have business services, Ms. Denton.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Dr. Beasley, and members of the Board of Education. Tonight, we have for review the financial status of the district. Our current year-to-date revenue is 52 million. Our expenditures are 70 million. The fund balance as of the end of September, so that's September the 30th, is 134 million. In addition to the financial report that we provided the Board of Education this month, we also provided an update on the incentives. And so the board has already received some information on the COVID incentive. We also sent out the equity incentive on October the 19th. On November the 15th, we're sending out the career ladder incentive. The longevity and key milestone incentive will go out in December. And of course, the professional learning incentive will go out in May of next year. Are there any questions regarding the financial report? The next report is the SPLOS revenue report. And so as the board can see that our revenue collection has been increasing month over month, particularly when you compare it to the same time last year. And as everybody knows, because I'm sure we've all seen it, inflation is going up. We are seeing that increase in our numbers. The 18%, the Georgia Department of Revenue communicated that our collections, that's collections for the entire state, is up by more than 18%. Of course, that's also included in your update this month. The next report is the purchasing report. The purchasing report, of course, we have report A, B, and C. In addition, we have the minority business enterprise report, and we've also included some updates for the Board of Education. So just as a reminder, this week, we're gonna have the virtual seminar, How to Do Business with Clayton County Public Schools. That's gonna be on Thursday, October the 28th. And as we communicated to the Board of Education, we have a high participation rate this week. And so we're looking forward to seeing some of the board members this week also for that seminar. So let's just jump directly into the purchasing report. Of course, report A and B is for the board's information only. Report C, which is our contract reports, and this requires the board's approval because these are amounts over $50,000. I can take any questions that the board may have on the purchasing report at this time.
Are there any questions, board members? I don't see any, Ms. Benton.
Thank you. And so the last item that's on the agenda is the budget calendar. It's budget season again. So we have the calendar here for the board to approve. I can also take any questions regarding the budget calendar. Thank you so much.
Next, we'll have Mr. Joseph, Construction.
Good evening once again. You've received this SPLOS construction update for the month of October. 3 payments were processed totaling $2.9 million. There were no change orders executed this period. Are there any questions regarding ongoing projects?
Ms. Baker.
I just wanted to take a chance to publicly say thank you for Jonesboro High School. It is, I fought long and hard, and you surpassed anything that I would have come up with. So I just want to thank you and your staff and putting up with me for all these years. I'm still upset that you didn't let me bulldoze something, but maybe next time.
Thank you.
Ms. Bowles.
Thank you for all you do. And I wanted to raise the point that Lovejoy High School, just need to add it to the record on behalf of my constituents, are very, very curious about all the solutions for space, size, building access, expansion, growth, roads, you name it, they want to know. And so anything that I can do to relay the information or anything that you and your team can do to correspond with the good folks at Lovejoy, please let me know how to be of assistance. I know they're pushed up on our SPOS list, so maybe we can communicate that somehow, encourage them along the way. It's getting real over there.
Yes, ma'am. We do see a lot of development on the south end of the county. So we will present some potential solutions to you at the next board retreat. Once we have consensus on the board, we will then go to community, and that way we're all singing from the same sheet of music.
We will have a discussion about facilities at our retreat. And if you mention, did I hear you say something about roads, Ms. Bowles? Did you say roads? Or
they want to know everything.
Well, tell them they'll have to ask the commissioners about roads. We don't do the roads, we just do the buildings. So we are going to have a discussion at the retreat. So that'll be helpful for you to help you to relay that information. Do we have any other questions?
All right, thank you all.
Next, we'll have Dr. Wilson, HR.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, other members of the board, Superintendent Beasley. The personnel changes report covers the period of September 17th through October 14th, 2021. As of this report, we are a little over 94% staff for teachers, compared to about 95.9% last year. So we're 1.5%, 2% off from last year. The next slide that we have here is just a year-over-year comparison for the past 3 years in terms of personnel transactions that have taken place. You can see this reporting period of 41 new hires shows the number of retirees, job class changes, separations, and teacher separations. So it's just a year-over-year comparison. The last slide is just another view of the year-over-year comparison for retirements, deaths, family resignations, the separations, job, contract abandonment, dismissals, and resignations. Additionally, I'd like to give just a quick update on the Grow With Us program. That's the program with the collaboration between DES, professional learning, and HR, where we're working with our classified staff to assist them in becoming certified teachers. As of today, we have 29 employees who have become teachers with us. So we'll be looking to increase that bandwidth next year to get more of our classified employees in certified teaching positions. Additionally, we're preparing for the mid-year perception survey that will be administered to all CCPS employees late November, early December. Starts, I think, after the Thanksgiving holiday, until the early December. And then finally, just to give an update on the funds that the board allocated for our members of PSERS, the Public School Employee Retirement System. Over the last few weeks, I've been meeting with AIG Retirement Manager, and that's just a third-party administrator for all of our tax shelter annuities. I'm pleased to share that we do have a draft that we hope to schedule a meeting with Dr. Beasley and Ms. Benton to kind of share where we are with the plan document itself. It's an extensive document whereby lots of tax implications and legalese, I guess, if you will, that's in there. So it is almost in its final stages to be shared with Dr. Beasley this week. After that, it will be shared with legal counsel for review Once it is approved, then we'll schedule meetings with members of PSERS to attend, to hear presentations about what this looks like, and allow them to select the fund that they would like the monies to be contributed to. So hopefully, next board meeting, I'll have more of a definitive timeline as to when those meetings will take place. And that concludes the personnel changes report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Okay. All right, we're on board matters, and I'm going to take a moment of privilege at this time. I need Mr. James to come forward, please. Mr. James, the board greatly appreciates your service. Dr. Rumpart is going to give you a token of our appreciation for all that you do for us. We thank him so much for his service. We've had a national recognition. We honored our custodial staff, but Mr. James takes care of this building, and he does it well, and he takes care of us. So the board wanted to give him something. We're a little late, but better late than never. Now, before we also go to the tentative adoption of the board meeting calendar, as you can see, my colleague next to me, the vice chair, stand up and show them what you have on. Mr. Strickler, your mask, stand up. So we have mandated that Dr. Beasley is going to have a Braves paraphernalia day because, you know, the Braves are in the World Series. And so Clayton County Public Schools needs to support the Atlanta Braves. So we need to allow everybody, yes, stand up for the Braves now. We need the Braves to bring that trophy home because it's been a long time. And I was telling somebody back in the day when you didn't have those electronic tickets, how some of our employees worked the stadium. And I actually was able to sneak into the World Series game when Dave Justice hit that home run. So also board members, if you all don't mind, although I hope we're not going to be a jinx, the last time we all wore our Falcons paraphernalia. So on Monday, let's come in here and everybody come in here with some Braves attire on so we can support the Braves. Hopefully by that time we'll be up 3-0 or whatever and be ready to just go on and bring home that trophy. Okay? All right, so on the agenda, this is the tentative adoption of the 2022 board meeting calendar. So if y'all will look at the calendar, and I know that some of you all say, oh, we don't normally have that date in July, but I did put it on there because it might come off, but I just wanted to put it on there so that in the event that Dr. Beasley or the staff needs to have a meeting, so we don't, you know, sometimes we meet in June and then we don't meet again to the end of July. We need to be able to hire our staff so we don't wait that long. Ms. Baker, do you have a question? Okay. Well, we will do that, and I noticed that at the end of the year, December 5th meeting is also my birthday. I don't want any cake and candy for mine. I just really don't want to meet that day. So, because I want to celebrate. So most definitely we will have those on there. So anyway, the other thing that I want the board to look at, we're going to vote on that next meeting, but I also want the board to consider something else. I've had several members who feel like they're not able to say or ask all the questions that they need to ask, especially when we're doing the work session. Like right now it's 8:12 because we spend a lot of time in executive session. So I also want you all to consider, right now we have meetings at 6 p.m. But the other thing is you got to think about our staff. They've been here since 8 o'clock. I want you all to think about possibly maybe we should have work sessions earlier in the day instead of at 6 o'clock. So that we could have the work, if we had the work session during the day, we could have each of the departments come in at a certain time and all questions that needed to be asked could be done. So, give me some feedback on that. Right now, we have it tentatively scheduled at 6 o'clock, but, we can always make these changes. And that might be better for the staff as well, instead of them having to stay here so late. I know some of you are work during the day, so there might be a problem, but let's just think about considering that as another option. Okay, so we're not voting on that tonight. This is next week. I believe that, I'll check behind me, Vice Chair. Have I covered everything? I think everything's covered. So at this time, we're at the point of adjournment. Wait a minute, do we have something else? I'm sorry. Now, see, I just asked him had I covered everything. Okay, he's anxious to go. Me too. Mr. Christmas.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Wait a minute, we need to approve it. Okay, all right. He's moved. All right.
We approving of the proposed agenda.
Okay, I got you, Mark. I'm gonna second it. I'll second it because I'm ready to go too. All right, let's vote. Oh, wait a minute. Someone has a question. Hold. Oh, do you have a question, Ms. Bowles? Okay. All right, then. Looks like it's unanimous. All right, we covered our business now. We are adjourned. Thank you all so much.